All right, so you need to have Bloomberg access, and most of you probably should have Wharton Words access as uh anyway, it's like a backup, but you should actually have that. And I already got a few students access. I don't know. Alexander, you got access yet?
As of yesterday, no, but let me check real quick
But
now.
you should, Alexander, you should do the steps to register yourself. And then you might get, I think you get a message that it goes to the professor. So make sure you go through the steps because then he'll get a flag or
Yeah,
get an email.
I registered, but they have to approve it, so
It's still
I'm waiting for
blocked
that.
because it's the weekend now. I don't know. And I don't know if it's, well, I don't know if it's a long weekend for you guys because it's, I don't know what's happening. In Canada, this is a long weekend. I'm in Canada. Um, I don't know. Professors might not be around. And I don't want to harass them, but I'll write them another email to see when you can get that access. In the meantime, today Bloomberg will be open. The other thing you can do, Alexander, is maybe bother another student who has access. Find out who has access and ask them to help you somehow. I don't know. You guys can do a Zoom and maybe they can help you. They have the energy and time to guide you. But maybe we can look at it together too right now. So let's see. I'm going to show you what Merali sent me after our conversation. And so she said she found an article predicting credit card delinquency rates. So this is different from her model. It's kind of a different question, but it goes beyond because she was just looking at debt. Um, but debt that cannot be repaid is probably more important than debt itself. So here's credit card delinquency, payment delinquency rate, and a model that includes. So she just wrote it like this, the constant, I'm not sure what rate that is, unemployment, revolving credit, and there's two other variables she said. So she has to see if she can find those, but at least she has the supporting paper. She has some results. She has some information on where to get this data from the paper, and then she can try and run it. And then she has this other one here, macroeconomic determinants of household debt in OECD countries. So this is like borderline economics, right? This is economics and finance, for sure. Um, the issue in this one, this model here, is so she mentions unemployment because we had a discussion about a relationship between inflation and debt. And I said, but if she's talking about a certain period of time, like during COVID or after COVID, 2020, then inflation was a result of other things. Sorry, debt was caused by other things than just inflation, including unemployment, right? So the debt was people were taking credit card debt because they didn't have a job. All right, so it's important to be aware of all the variables that can influence, and you're not going to be able to figure it out over the weekend, okay? All you're going to be able to do is find articles that have done similar things and develop your own model, get some sort of different set of data to either show the same thing that they got, demonstrate that the results are similar or different. Okay, that's the most you can do. Now, this is suggesting using the generalized um oh, why don't I remember what that means? Method of moments, I think, GMM. Let me see. What's the generalized method of a GMM mean again? Meaning, sorry, this is when I start jumping around. Generalized method of moments. Oh, I was right. Okay. So this is a specific statistical regression technique that I don't expect you guys to do. All I want you to do is find a paper or several papers that have some models, pick the different models and run the different models and analyze them. Analyze them like you did for the last assignment, and then conduct the test of assumptions. And that's it. So what are the tests of assumptions? So I didn't give you an assignment on that yet, right? but I told you to watch the Z statistic videos 7 through 10 to learn about how to test the assumptions. It's going to involve looking at the graphs, and it's going to involve making some modifications if you have heteroscedasticity or autocorrelation. Okay, so um, that's all I want you to do. So some people ask how many models. I don't know if somebody asked that, but for your assignment you had 8. I said I want to see at least 5. I want you to know how to compare them, and that discussion is outlined in those 7 to 10 videos. So that's what I want you to do for your paper. So you're going to explore these models in with general regression, and then you're going to look at the papers and like see these guys said, oh, the GMM approach is suggested, so they do it. And then what did they find? So you can mention all of that in your discussion. These guys, who were they? Oh, anyway, she didn't put the authors. This study, these authors found the GMM approach was better at fitting and predicting household debt. Okay. And then you say what they found, and then you find other papers or you mention other papers there. So the literature review that you do for your model, so you do a literature review of the topic, and then you present your model and the literature review backing it. Then you do the model, then you report results. So what we're going to do after you get the data, we're going to report the results. And in reporting the results, what you're going to report are the 5 models and how one improves upon the other, how they compare. And then you're going to compare the results in the discussion with what other people found. So you're going to tie it all together, you're going to finish it up, and then you're going to make recommendations and further research. We should try GMM, we should do blah, 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 because we're not going to get into that. This is not exactly, obviously this is interdisciplinary. You have to be able to do statistics, you have to understand economics, and you need to apply finance theory. This kind of regression, I don't expect you to do a panel GMM. You didn't, I don't know if any of you learned that. It's not hard if you have a, like with R or more sophisticated than Excel statistical package, you could do this pretty easily. But I don't expect you to do that. I expect you to fully explore the model that you chose, or the 5 that you chose, using what we learned. Okay, so modeling, modifying the model, transformations, and then assumption checking. So I want to spend next week talking about assumption checking, but you guys have to spend next week running the models. Okay, so you got to be there. You need the data. So right now, let's see if we can, you guys, how many of you are there? Let me see how many of you guys are here. We got a good turnout, 10 people. See if we can look at your data, or you have figured out a source of data. I felt quite excited about Medali's options for data yesterday, but data cleaning, taking your data and preparing it for analysis is a huge part of research, okay? And I'm available to help with that. But we're going to work in Excel to clean up data. Like I showed you guys who were here yesterday, Merali and we downloaded a huge database, and like we didn't know what the variables meant. We'd have to find out, we'd have to modify them, interpret them. So I think she moved away from looking at that. Yeah, that was a literacy database. That's right. She was trying maybe to relate literacy, financial literacy, to household debt. But then that involved getting into the states data, and then you have to have states variables. It's just a bunch of variables and data that you have to sort out. So this idea of picking the data that matches inflation, finding the data that represents unemployment, finding the data for GDP, and what you're going to look at, months, years, states, that is operationalization. That is a big step that you guys are going to take um this well today, because you got to write your proposals. And but we can improve upon it if you're really off, but I really want to see you thinking all that through, and you're not going to be able to think that through unless you have your data. All right, so let's see. Noelia asked me, well, she just mentioned that she'd like to go in Bloomberg to look for data. Noelia, can you send me in the chat your model or something, a picture of it, or uh, the variables in it, so I know what I'm looking up. Let me see your, I have to remember your project. Let me see if I pull up your literature review. And remember from that discussion we had the other day, you can go beyond the literature review that you submitted just to get the points for assignment 2. You should be going beyond that and giving me 20 paper literature review minimum for your proposals. Let me make sure I wrote that in Moodle. Keep checking what I said. What did I say in Moodle? I said, I didn't write it here. Did I write it in the Excel document? Let me see my Excel document. Backtracking. The guide for proposals. Okay, I'm going to add it there because that's what we discussed, right? Minimum 20 papers. I will put it in the guide and upload the guide. And when I say 20 papers, it means you need to reference a minimum of 20 papers. And those 20 papers has to be, as we discussed, 80% from finance and economic quality journals. So I'm going to change the revised date. Are you guys seeing that? Let me share that again. Okay, so minimum 20 papers referenced in the proposal. Let me upload it now so I don't forget. Okay, so that's I put it here on the proposal, research proposal due June 27th at midnight, before midnight. I added it here. Do you guys hear my clicking? Lots of clicking. And Zoom does suppress the noises. My mouse is just very noisy. You can also put it here. And when I say referenced, I mean you have to talk about it. Not just in the references. It's not a bibliography. They have to be actually referenced in your paper. Okay, so I did that. Okay, let's see Noelia's work. So I put it here, 20 papers referenced. All right. Okay, independent variable. So can you put the cut and paste the question? And put the question and what the role access of formal financial services in enhancing economic and low income populations. Oh, okay, Noelia, what models are you seeing in the paper? Like what regression models, which papers can you write in the chat? Either a paper that you saw or a data set that was mentioned, because I'm thinking I can't see your face, but you're writing, right? Yeah, I can see you, but there you are. Um, Send me a link to some model, something, a paper, like I showed you. Eventually, Medali sent me. Maybe it'll click later, but send me a paper. And you guys, seriously, you guys can do this yourself and then confirm it in Grok or confirm it in AI. Don't do it the other way around. Because if you have the evidence, it would be nice to find supporting evidence, not use something that you don't know the quality of that evidence and working that way. It's just um, against you. Rather build upon what you understand. They always do surveys on their own. All right. Okay, look for the name of the model, look for the theory. Everybody else can do the same. Don't wait for Noelia here. So they always do surveys on their own. So that's going to be a problem. But let me see if I'm going to put this in Grok and find, that's what I did for Manali yesterday. I'm going to put it in, I really like Grok right now. Maybe next week I won't. Um, so I'm going to just put this in my Grok. So provide a list of databases that can analyze, that can be used. I think it's going to be OECD, Global Findex Database, World Bank. Okay, so did you know about these databases, Noelia? You've seen these?
Yes, I yesterday I looked in Grok too, but I don't have access to any of those. Like,
Are you sure?
yeah,
Demograph and
I
health.
tried everything and the ones that I had access, like somehow when I was filtered, like I put filters on so I could find the data, it was like there was no data. Like, I don't know.
Were you, um, did you try through the university libraries?
No.
Like, were you logged into the library system?
Oh yeah.
So you were logged in. These databases, Global Findex, FAST, World Bank Enterprise Surveys, DHS. Yeah, these guys always write me. I don't know. I thought we have this data. Global Financial Development Database, scope of service, provide comprehensive data for analyzing how access to foreign financial sources enhance economic resilience. Mix of household, firm, and macro level data covering So you checked all these, and exploring C gaps case studies would be practical. You checked them all?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
And the one I
let's
use,
uh-huh.
like I try to use like Wharton because I found data on CompuStat, but it sends me like automatically to Wharton, but I don't have access. So
Well, you should get access. So register for
I
access.
registered, but
He didn't.
they haven't given me the access.
Did you write me or no?
No.
You write me so I can forward it to the guy. If he's on the beach
Okay.
somewhere, he can do it from his phone if he checks. He knows this is happening. Um, Professor, you know Anibal Baez? You guys know him? Accounting professor. He's in charge. Anibal. But I don't like he was very responsive with the last group, but like he just might be away. Okay, so I don't know. How about Noelia? So you want to look at this question. What is the role of access to formal financial services in enhancing economic resilience among low-income populations? I wonder if, okay, so you saw the database that I picked up for um, Merali, right? That was a lot of data, but by state. It's not by country. And some states are poorer than other states. Like you might be able to ask the same question just in the United States. I ended up doing my PhD thesis using American data because it was available and the Canadian data wasn't. America is very transparent, this whole freedom of speech and transparency is incredible in the United States, and it generates a lot of research because they share this data. So maybe you just do the United States and then do something GDP of states. What do you think? I'm totally making this up, but maybe you can look for papers not around the world, but just on the United States. And what you can add is um, probably you could find the data for Puerto Rico too and add that. Maybe. I don't know. So, what do you think? So that database, sorry, I interrupted you. What do you think?
Oh, no, that I think like I would do that, but yesterday I also like well, found data and on the census of Puerto Rico,
Oh, good.
and like it says that the data is there, but I can't see it. Like it's only like
Or if you cannot put Puerto Rico in right now, that's okay. You can just work with the United States, and some are poorer than others. And I mean, that's a strong word, but you know what I mean. If you're going to, well, however you're going to measure poverty or a low income population size, however you're going to do that, that those are the issues you have to go. How are you going to measure? What are you going to look at for that? Are you going to use percentage of low income people? So those are all considerations that the papers will provide you. So I want you to shift. And I'm giving you a lot to do for today in 12 hours, but you're going to shift looking for papers about the United States and this question and see who's looked at it. Um, and then you have that database that has, let me see what it was. What was that website again? NC, I downloaded it. Hold on. It was a huge database. Oh, tracking data info. Okay, it was the NFCS. The NFCS, and they had all kinds of things. So you're going to spend like you can spend a lot of time looking at that if you need my help to look into that more detailed. But basically, that website was amazing. The data was available, the code books were available. You have all the states. That's the only catch because you're going to have to merge that information with economic data on the states. And merging with big Excel files is not impossible. it's totally doable, but maybe I might have to help you with that. So what am I doing? What was it called? NCFS? NFCS. The NFCS capability study. And just look for papers that they've published. Lots of reports. Millennia. Oh wow, there's lots of papers here. But again, don't get lost in the web of the internet. But just realize I never even heard of this study. But the fact that they make it publicly available is phenomenal. So here, financial fragility in U.S. evidence and implications, financial fragility of American families. Okay, is that helpful? Millennials and Gen Y? Okay, look into it and keep me posted. So in the end, you are limited by available data unless you can write a grant about data you want to generate, get some money, and then do the surveys yourself. But in the meantime, use what's there. I mean, these people got a grant. These people have received millions of dollars to generate the survey data. So just use it. You can even, like, if we go into Google Scholar and put the NFCS, well, the name, right? National Finance Capability Study, and find all the papers about it. To see what people have said about the data. You can switch, just to looking at the report findings itself. And you need to do that if you're going to do this, and then say how your paper is going to be new or unique or different, or, focusing on a certain group, or so you can't repeat what's been done before to publish something, but you can get pretty close. But then add something or narrow in on some population. Formal financial services and how they're going to measure that. They have variables. So you're going to go into the data. I don't know, this looks like a different website than the other one I was looking at, but anyway. This is another issue. This is very good. So I imagine that states that have more immigration have to deal with, well, they have a whole population they have to educate about financial literacy because they maybe never learned it in their country. So if you say international student, maybe that's about people coming to the States to do their post-secondary education, so university or graduate school or professional education, and they don't understand the financial system in the United States. Like, so then that's very interesting because states with more immigrants might have different kind of challenges than others with less immigrants. So that could even be something interesting, a way to look at this. Anyway, I'm just generating ideas. Um, I hope you're following what I'm getting at, that there's so many ways you can look at this, but you have to look at it in a different way and show me how your way is different given your literature review of what people have done. Okay, so because I honestly don't think that's going to be as easy to find in Bloomberg, like as that database is going to give you. Okay, you would have to read those. I closed those pages. Let me go in the history. What were we doing? Because these pages look different from what I did with Merali yesterday. This is like somewhere else. That's why. Global Financial Literacy Excellence Center. But if I go back to this one, it will bring me back probably. Yeah, this is where we were, right? And I got into the data, explore the data. Isn't this what I did? This looks familiar. Oh, so this is a FINRA data. Download the data, and this just gave me a bunch of data from these years. You would want to use many years because, well, I'm not teaching you panel data analysis, but we can introduce a time variable to look at that. Puerto Rico sample and Asian American oversample. Did you know that? Look at that. Includes a Puerto Rico sample, but just the 2021. So that's interesting. Okay. So here, I'm going to put this link in the chat for the page. All right. Okay, so Noelia's on her way. Who's next? Mhm. You're welcome. Who's next? Who wants to ask next? Nobody? You guys don't want any help? Okay, Francis, what did you finally decide? What was your question now?
My question is, oh, but basically,
Can you
I
write
can
it?
send you the article that I'm
Okay, yes,
gonna like use for
yes,
the model.
yes. So if you find yourself changing your question because of your data, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Don't be stuck with your question if you can't analyze it. You have to be able to analyze your question. The data will help you limit or narrow your question.
I sent the article.
Okay. To me, oh, by my email?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's just loading. It's just, it took forever to load. Okay, download. Where did it go? Is this like a huge article or something? Like what? Why is it taking?
Mm, no,
Huh.
it's a normal,
It's a
like,
normal size? I don't know what's going
yes,
on. I don't know
I
what's.
think so.
Let me see. Oops. My my computer's like freezing over this. Can you put it in the chat? Okay, it's okay. I got it. It's just my connection, maybe. Oh, okay, back to this one, the real estate. Okay. This is the first paper to examine COVID-19 shock transmitted from the asset markets to capital markets. Using a novel measure of the exposure of commercial real estate portfolios to increase in the number of COVID cases, we find a one standard deviation increase in geo-COVID on day T-1 is associated with a 0.24 and 0.934 percentage decrease in normal returns over. Nice. This is interesting. Okay, so you have like these, there's going to be lag. You're going to create variables that are lag variables. Okay, so what, so they have a model somewhere. So they have the data. So can you get this data? Indexes, S&P 500, Russell. Okay. Equity REITs and Russell 2000. Okay. That's just that's not maybe what they use. That's just their explanation. So what data do they use? Oh, I've already typed. Have you gone to Bloomberg? Or you said you can't. You're going to use you're going to use CompuStat and Crisp. Okay, quarterly accounting data and daily returns on individual REITs and on our broad-based market indices are obtained from S&P Global Companies database. So you should be able to get that after merging with GeoCovid. Okay, so can you get GeoCovid?
No, well, I haven't like checked that part.
So okay, and what is your research question? Did you put it in the chat? Try and write it. Try and
I'm
write
gonna
something.
I'm gonna send it.
Okay. Where's the model? Did they write the model? That's an equation. They didn't write as an equation, they just talk about it. Okay, so you see, what you have to do with the data immediately is run some descriptive statistics. So you have to present a table of all your variables, the number of observations, the average, the standard deviation. These are percentiles here. So that's not hard to do. You need to present that. Okay, so this idea of looking at abnormal returns is how like finance research is often conducted. I want to see an equation model, but I have to read instead. See, so they jump into results. So you're going to read a few papers, right? So you can see the pattern, how they express these things. Okay, let me read their research question. So they write, notice they write they have an abstract. You're going to do that at the end when you're done. And in the abstract, they say, using a novel measure of exposure of commercial real estate portfolios to increase in the number of COVID-19 cases, we find a one standard deviation increase in COVID and geo-COVID on day T minus 1 associated with 0.24 and 0.93 percentage points decrease in the normal returns over 1 to 3 day windows. There is substantial variation across property types. Local and state policy interventions help to moderate the negative return impact. However, there is little evidence that reopenings affected the performance of commercial real estate. Yeah, so they looked at commercial real estate. Were you going to look at residential or something? How did COVID-19 cases affect returns on different REIT sectors during pandemic? When was this published? 2020. Have you done has your literature review focused on COVID-19?
Yes. I can, if it's necessary, because if there's like limited data, I can change it. So
Oh, you have to show me. So you just focus on COVID-19. It's not so much that there's limited data. Like they're identifying this shock over very short periods. I mean, we don't have a lot of data, but it would be interesting to do something like this for the tariff announcements that have happened, but it's just such a short time. I'm just trying to think of other recent shocks to the economy while the wars. You know what I'm just getting at? Like COVID-19 definitely was a thing, and we still have the ripple effect of COVID-19, but trying to think of you doing a similar thing but a different shock. Get what I mean?
yeah, in that case, if I was gonna change like drastically, like instead of the COVID, another like era or moment, can I do the proposal on COVID and then change it after the proposal?
Well, if you because you spend all your time doing COVID papers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like
Well,
it
of
won't, I think I will not have enough time to like change everything today.
course, yeah. I mean, you could do COVID, but what year would you want to do COVID? Like, okay, so first of all, you say you don't know about this database, the COVID database. Like, you're gonna need the COVID database. Okay, where is this thing? Geo COVID. I really I hesitate to use anybody else's like data, but anyway, you guys can do that. But I don't know. I like to have the raw data, but I think that's a lot of work for you. One second. Okay. See where I'm not sure where am I missing here? They said they got this. There are a lot of websites. I don't know if they use John Hopkins. Is that what they said? They just created this variable from John
I
Hopkins or they got it?
I think that they created it. I think so.
But you assume it's John Hopkins. You don't know.
I'm not sure.
I really wish they would have the equation model. They just have a talking model, a spoken model, data. These are the different sectors you're talking about.
Yes, but in the investigation, I was not gonna use all the sectors because they have like 12 sectors. So
But which ones would you use?
at least like hospitality that I know that got like very much affected, and storages, and maybe like malls.
Maybe you can just, I don't know, can you just do this with Puerto Rico? Because they did it for all the states over a period of time. I wonder if you can just do this for Puerto Rico. Can you get this information for Puerto Rico?
But the problem about REITs and the commercial real estate in general is that many of the data is private and there's like very low transactions. Like there's not many data, and the data that there is like, yeah, in the private sector, and they don't release it.
Okay. So this is not looking good for you, Francis. If you cannot find the data,
Should I like change it
you
to
need
like,
to change to something you have data for.
yeah,
If you want to
I
look at
think
shocks and you want to
I
look at abnormal returns model, what did you mention yesterday? You had come up with something. It was yesterday. You told me something.
yeah, it was basically this.
Oh, okay. But it was changing from, oh, so you had talked about
Yeah, because
the
the
impact of
past,
home working at home, right? On
yeah,
resident
and there's
office.
like no data about that. Like from what I read, basically, well, work from home, it was hitting before 2020, and then it peaked at like 2021, but after that it has been like declining because of hybrid roles, and well, companies want their employees to return to the office, so there's has been a decline, and there's like no, at least I didn't find any investigation like a direct correlation with it.
Um,
I can move out of the real estate industry, honestly.
mm,
I don't know like what to investigate, but like I can move out of the real estate is more complicated that I expected. So
They know that there's okay. Okay, so I'm just looking at different databases. US Census Bureau. Okay, so I just asked Grok to give me databases that measure work from home. But like you said, if you can't get rate data, are you sure you can't get rate data?
well, in the case of REITs, there has to be
Go
because they
into, did you try in Wharton?
I'm still like awaiting approval, right? So
Okay, hold on. I'm just generating some databases here. I'm pretty sure Wharton has it. The Ziman Real Estate Data Series. Do we have access to that? Let me check. Sorry, guys. I'll get to you. Okay, first of all, work from home trends can be, let me share what I found. Okay, so work databases for measuring work from home trends. American Community Survey of the US Census Bureau, that is free data. Annual survey provides data on US workers, including question on primary mode of transportation if they work from home. So there you go. Did you know about this database?
I saw the article. Um, I've, I
So
saw like
you should be
I've,
able to generate, download this data. The data will come by state. I believe it will be person level data, individual level data, but you'd have to pick a year or two. So 2021, I guess, oh, comparing to 2019. So you can do pre-COVID, post-COVID. So you're not really monitoring COVID. You're just monitoring the work from home trend. Uh, and then you would need the state or county statistics. The problem with the Census Bureau data is that they kind of hide, like we have to match. If you're going to join two databases, then you got to match them on something. And if you don't know the people and where they live, you can't match them on their region. But I think it does give you some sort of region variable. Yeah, freely available. You need to look at it. The American Community Survey, Household Pulse Survey, and now the US Census, they have they spend millions on this data, and people do not analyze it as they could. I think, the idea of AI and making it easier and more user friendly will mine this data more in the coming years. So yeah, get into this data. Launched in 2020, this survey collects real-time data on social and economic impact of COVID, including net telework status. It asks households about work from home in relation to the pandemic, provides insights into work from home adoption among low-income households. And it's interesting, Francis, because since the new Trump administration That's got to have changed. That must have changed anyway because he made everybody in the federal government go to work. So that would be interesting to see, but I don't think we have 2025 data. It's probably 2, 3 years behind. They might have 2023. Um, but anyway, so you do have the work from home stuff here. So look at these databases. National Longitudinal Survey of Youth. This is very interesting, but this is longitudinal data. It tracks people from the 70s all to today. So you've lost a lot of people because people die, people move, people get out of the survey, but it's very interesting data, longitudinal data. I don't expect you to analyze that one. All right, so that is going to be your source. Like just like I say, go into Grok. All I asked was, can you identify databases that measure work from home? And it gives me all these databases.
And basically, what should I like compare it?
Well,
Uh,
then the REITs, right? Whatever you can find there. So then we have to go into, and you'd have to do it. You'd have to match the data for the individuals, if it's individual level or if it's state level. You have to find out if it's by state, then you would use the state data and you would match with the state REIT data. So you gotta
okay,
see what there is. If it's, I can't remember, if this is individuals and you know where they're from, and then you can match it with whatever, if they use regions or states or counties, then you get the REITs for that, the REIT data for that. Now, this says for the REIT data, you get the Zimman real estate data series. Let me see if it's in CRISP, okay? I'm going to check if we have access to that. Are you watching me? Oh, turn. I'm going to go into CRISP. Okay, let's go here and see what we have. Zeman, we do not have it. So we do not have it. But let's see if, oh, where was I with Grok? Right. Let's see, look at the alternatives. Narrate. REIT.com. Did you go there?
no, I'm gonna check.
Try REIT.com and see what they give. And what you're going to focus on is what level of data do they have? Do they have by person, not person, but by state, by county, by region? And it's global, so it's going to be all over the world. I don't know. So that's an option. Do you see something there? So that's what you want. Access, read the access. What does this say? Available through institutional subscriptions. Okay. Refinitiv. I don't think we have Refinitiv. But maybe on Bloomberg, right? So what did you say? It's not on Bloomberg, or you don't know if it's on Bloomberg? You
Well,
can't get Bloomberg because you're
yeah,
not in
Bloomberg
Puerto.
used to have everything. Like
What did you say?
that Bloomberg probably has like all the data.
Okay, so if you can tell me what you want, maybe I can pull it for you. We can do it on another day together, okay?
Sure.
Or another hour because I have to go after this class and maybe we can make an appointment. So email me, maybe we can do that together. You can guide me on what you want. and we can
Okay.
go into Bloomberg and look for that. So write me an email. We'll make an appointment and try that together. I can send you that. But
Okay.
meanwhile, you try and dig up, well, decide what you want and dig up what in the world you can get on work from home. I like the idea. I think it's fine, but you have to think of a model still and all the variables you're going to include. And that's what you use the COVID-19 study for. That's going to be your, the basis of your literature review, and it's fine. But you have to pull a model out of there that applies to your question. All right. So we can do that together in Bloomberg, but you have to guide me what you want. Okay, so we're running out of time. Who else is desperate? Anybody else need a data source? Anybody want to check their questions? Oh, chat. So Raul, I was looking, you weren't there yesterday, but no, you can get it in CRISP. Like we were doing that for insurance data, public, like you said, publicly traded companies are in CRISP. So get your Wharton's account. You got the Wharton's account, right? You think it's behind the paywall in CRISP? If you go or buy CompuStat. CompuStat will get you the financials, the fundamentals, the information from financial statements for insurance firms. So you'd have to figure out like either the NAIC code. I think I did this yesterday. The NAIC code, right? And you're going to put the NAIC code, and you should be able to figure this out. You have to play with this. You need to spend time. What is three? But the three does surveys on tech adoption. Who's three? Oh, the Insurance Information Institute. Oh, okay. So, well, then don't go to places that are behind the paywall. Find another. What was oh yeah, the tech adoption. Find another way to understand tech adoption. Find a proxy. Make it up. Why don't you attribute all additional spending or change in, um, make it up. It's not perfect, but you can say some portion of additional expenditures is for tech or something. But find some basis for doing whatever you do. I'm just making it up in my head and it's just an opinion, but find some basis for a proxy for tech adoption. If you're not going to be able to get the exact numbers, you guys have to be creative. This is it. This is how it is. It's not just about knowing how to do the regressions, the creativity aspect of it. Okay, check that. But also, Raul, literature review, literature review, literature review. Try and see other papers that how did they measure tech adoption? What variables do they use? And it has not, it does, even if it has nothing to do with insurance, it doesn't matter at this point. If you want to figure out how you're going to measure tech adoption of a firm, just look for that. Look for papers that do that. Like I said, separate your keywords and do individual searches. The big overall search with all your keywords was to determine if someone did this before. That's what it was for. But then to find out how you're going to do your paper, you got to go term by term, like synonym brackets by synonym brackets to find papers that have looked at these things before. I'm positive other researchers have looked at firms and investment in tech. Okay. So that's how you're going to get to that. So your literature review is going to provide you your model. Don't give up. Keep digging. Okay, who else? Who else? while you are, you're going to you're going to give this to me before midnight, and then I'm going to post them so that the person critiquing you can look at it. And meanwhile, if you guys want to change, your proposal, change your proposal while it's fresh in your mind. But I'm going to grade what you submit at midnight tonight or before midnight tonight, okay? I will grade that, but you're welcome to modify things after. You're going to be modifying for the next few weeks. Don't forget on the last week, like I'll be back in Puerto Rico on the 16th. And then I wanted to have class in person, but if people are away, I don't want to have them. So yeah, I'll be here. I'll be there the 17th, the 18th, and then I'll be there that whole weekend, 17, 18. So I can be available, but don't wait till then. Hopefully you have most of the things figured out way in advance of then. But I will be there to talk to you in person if that helps. And then we're going to do the presentations on 21. Okay, I called it the oral exam, but basically because you're going to send me your papers on the whatever day I made the deadline. Let me see. I made the deadline to send me the final paper on the 18th. And then you're not going to make a presentation, but I'm going to ask you about your papers in the oral exam. Okay, that's what's going to happen to you. So you guys got to know your paper. That's what's going to happen. So use the next few weeks to understand your topic. Well, all right. No more questions for me. Make an appointment if you need to see me, define data, clean data, upload data, models, whatever.
Professor,
Mm,
I
Noeline?
put a question on the chat.
Oh, Valeria. Okay. Okay, so for today, you're going to give me the proposal by the instructions, using the instructions below. Let me help you with this. So the instructions are here for the proposal. Introduction, literature review, minimum of 20 papers, reference, methods, and data. You don't have to do the analysis yet, okay? But you have to have the methods and the data. So you have to have your model. And all the instructions I put in the guide. I attached the guide here so you guys can see what I want from you in the guide. And then next week, you're making a good point. What I should do next week is for next week, it's going to be on Thursday because July 4th is a holiday. So for the July 3rd, oh, and the Monday. Oh, I didn't separate this. That's weird. I thought I did. What did I do here? So this is 27, and then Monday is, I guess I separated here and I didn't in there. I gotta fix that. Gotta be clear here. Because this is going to be where you put your Friday assignment, and this is where you put your Monday critique, okay? For the Monday critique, you're going to use this document here of the form. I don't know if steps 1 through
Professor,
7.
and another question, for today's assignment on the methods and data, we only have to name like the models and the databases, or do we also have to explain the regression analysis of those models?
You have to show me the equation of your model and of your model or models. You can just give me one model today. I think that's what you're worried about, the 5. Just give me one model today, and then you're going to develop that with 5 models for your in the draft paper, right? For the 11. You know what's wrong? It says Thursday. This should be Monday. No, Thursday. Why did I say Thursday? What's Thursday? Okay, that's the next week. So yeah, the 5 models will be, yeah, I just didn't put Monday in. I got to put it there. Yeah, it is free. I know that. I'm just wondering here on the 11 is where I want the 5 models, Valeria, okay? Or the development of the models. You can have more than 5. It's okay, but I want to see at least 5. And I want to see at least 3 variables. Sorry, at least more than 2. So at least 3 variables as independent variables in your models. We are meeting every day, Raul. Monday is what? Is it supposed to be a holiday? Monday is the we meet every day. I just canceled some days because I was sick, and the only day we even met yesterday when it was a holiday because I wanted to help people. And um the only day is July 4th is off. So anyway, back to the question was what happens on the with the 5 models? You're going to mention those with your final paper. But for this model that you're going to present for today, it's going to be like the variables and how they're associated. That's basically what I want to see. I want to see the equation. If you cannot write the equation, actually, maybe I should mention that you know how to write equations in Word. You see how Merali did it here. When she sent this to me, she understood what I was wanting to see. She made an equation like this. You can do this a little nicer with the equation editor, right? So, or you can just, do this, make these subscripts, or, whoops, or you can use the equation editor with insert equation. I don't like this editor. They used to have an amazing one that I can only use on an old computer, but this is the equation editor, and you can do, um, like that. And you'll notice when you read the models in papers, they'll have like with subscripts and everything, like they'll do something like this, where that didn't work. I really don't like this editor, but that didn't work. I gotta go like this. For research, for scientific research, I don't say historically, but traditionally, before software was ubiquitous, before everyone had these kinds of software, people used a software or a programming code called LaTeX, and that would make everything like the textbooks, right, with the same formatting. And then since Word had a really nice equation editor, and now they have this thing, and I don't know, I don't like it. Anyway, delinquency. So then you put in beta. Are you guys watching? Yeah. So then I put in the beta, which is over here, and I put the sub. So I highlight and I do subscript. Okay, just showing you how to make an equation. Got it? So if you guys came late, I want you to work on this. That's obviously going to be your priority. But what I'm going to expect you to do with your model, you're going to present it today. You might, and it's going to be based on the literature. You're going to get it from somewhere. Like you're going to modify something you've seen slightly, but pretty much use the theory to back you. that these are related variables. And then you're going to identify the data. You're going to tell me where the data is for this. You're going to tell me which variables are going to represent unemployment, which variables are going to represent revolving credit. Like, you have to confirm with me that you have found the variable that you're going to analyze. And then what you're going to do over the next 2 weeks is analyze the data. What does that mean? You're going to run the thing that you wrote here, and then you're going to test it to see if if the assumptions are valid. So she uses rates, and then I. So what does this I thing mean? It means that it's per individual unit. Like, it could be by firm, or in this case it's people. Okay. Now, if you were to also add in, rather than use 1 year, you use 2 years, you might see that the papers will add a variable, sorry, a subscript T here. And the T means, for 1999, 2000, 2001, it's doing like a panel data analysis. So whenever you see something like this, that's what they've done. They're following people over time. So I is for, you could say individual, but for different studies, maybe it will be like if somebody does an analysis at the state level, then I represents the state. Okay. Anyway, I can't put the T in. Oh, I got to just put it beside it, IT. So they'll write it something like that. So it has the individual in this year. And then they're going to put it here. And then it will be T. And then they also have to put it here because in the different years, you're going to have different subscripts, different coefficients in each of the years, and then you get to test that. So anyway, you get the idea how to make an equation nice and pretty for a linear regression equation. If you have any other kind of symbols that you're going to use, your model has like an exponent or a logarithm, you can also use the equation editor. So how did I get that? Insert equation, and it activates this editor here. Okay, guys. Any questions for me? You guys stayed. Any more questions? So keep in touch if you want an appointment. We can talk today. And this is a crunch. Putting it all together, it should feel painful. It's not abnormal if you feel a little stress. Totally normal, but that stress is meant to help you to focus and block everything else out and get this done. Okay? And if you guys have seen Karate Kid, this is wax on, wax off. I'm giving you piece by piece. You don't see the big picture yet, but we're going to do piece by piece, and it's all going to come together by the end. That's my hope. We're going step by step. Any more questions for me? Valeria, did I answer your question all right? Good. Okay, don't worry about the end result right now. All right, guys. Have a good day. Keep me posted. Ciao. Oh, I need to chat.